Okay. Good morning to everyone. Is everybody able to see the screen? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, Ashish.
Yes.
Okay. As part of today's session, we will discuss about SAP GTS overview. Like what is SAP GTS and what is the overview of SAP GTS and what are the benefits of SAP GTS to the company which implement. I mean to say that if any company implements SAP GTS, what kind of benefits those companies are going to get. And apart from that, we will also discuss about the different versions of SAP GTS. So which version initially SAP GTS has come to the market, and later what are the different versions introduced by the SAP for the GTS module. So and then we will get into the functions of SAP GTS. Functions in the sense different modules available in the SAP GTS module, and also we will discuss about each and every module, like each and every sub-module of SAP GTS. That is, SAP GTS has been classified into different sub-modules, and we will discuss about all those different sub-modules and their respective application areas. So that means SAP GTS has been classified into different sub-modules, and each sub-module again classified into different application areas. So as part of today's session, we will discuss about all those sub-modules and also the different application areas which are available as part of each and every sub-module of SAP GTS. So this is what we are going to discuss. So it covers an overview of SAP GTS. Okay. And first of all, what is SAP GTS? So basically, SAP GTS is the full form of SAP GTS is SAP Global Trade Services. So SAP GTS is like one of the SAP module which can replace SAP GTS is one of the an SAP module which can replace both SAP ECC foreign trade and also both SAP ECC export foreign trade and import foreign trade. If I am not wrong, you couple of the team members might be aware of that we have foreign trade in SAP SD module, and also we have foreign trade in the SAP MM module. So as you are all aware of that, we have foreign trade module of SAP SD and foreign trade module of SAP MM. There are two different foreign trade modules in the ECC system. One is SAP ECC SD foreign trade and SAP ECC MM foreign trade. So can anybody tell me what will be taken care of? What is the use of SAP SD foreign trade? Can anybody tell me what it can take? I'm telling that we have a foreign trade module in SAP SD, sales and distribution module, SAP sales and distribution module. So we have a foreign trade module. So can anybody tell me what is this foreign trade, purpose of the foreign trade module in SAP SD? Maybe Ashish, can I get answer from your side?
Hello?
Hello, Ashish.
Hello?
Ashish.
Yeah, am I audible?
Yes, I can able to hear you.
Foreign trade will allow you to deal with various export related to SD. For example,
Excellent.
when you are doing an export related process, it would help you to map your exports according to the SD process, along with the SD process.
Excellent. So that means the foreign trade module in the SD sales and distribution module, the foreign trade of foreign trade module of SD module like in the sales and distribution module, basically it helps like all export activities which happens in ECC system. That means if your client is participating in the export module, so if you have like an ECC system in place, and if you you're using ECC, the ECC's SD module will be taking care of all your export activities, like sending the products, like how can you submit the documents to the customs authorities, or how can you take care of the licenses, and how can you take care of the letter of credit. So all these activities will be supported by the SAP SD sales and distribution modules foreign trade. Now I am going to ask a question. This is a question to Prasad. So like what is the importance of MM foreign trade? We have SAP MM foreign trade, materials management or the purchasing foreign trade. So can anybody tell me what is the use of SAP MM foreign trade?
That will take care of the import part.
This can be basically used for.
Okay, Bala, or like any one of you, like maybe foreign
procurement related to imports,
yes,
raw materials or semi-finished goods.
Excellent. That means, so whenever you have a requirement of receiving the goods, whenever you have a requirement of procuring the goods or purchasing the goods from a supplier who is residing or who is locating in any other country. So that means if your business is having the requirement of procuring, or if your business is having the requirement of receiving, like what I can say, raw materials or the spare parts from a different country, then what needs to be done? It is nothing but import. Definitely, like if you are procuring, if you are buying raw materials or some kind of product from any other country, so that is called as what? Import. So to support your import activities, the MM module, to support your import activities, the SAP MM modules foreign trade will be supporting. In the similar way, if you are selling a product, to the customer who is located in any other country or who is residing in any other country, if you are intended to sell a product to that customer who is located in different country, then it is called as export. That export activity will be taken care by your SAP SD module. So that means, so to take care of selling activities abroad will be supported by SAP SD foreign trade. To take care of procurement of raw materials from other country, which is also called import, the import process is supported by the SAP MM foreign trade. Now you may have a question. So we are already having the question. We are already having SAP SD foreign trade, or we are already having SAP MM foreign trade. So you may have the question, why do we need like SAP GTS module? When we have SAP ECC, or whenever your SAP ECC is supporting like foreign trade of export activities, foreign trade of import activities with SAP SD foreign trade, SAP MM foreign trade. So why do we need SAP GTS? Because SAP GTS also, like the SAP GTS module also, will be taking care of both import and export activities. So basically SAP GTS, SAP Global Trade Services, is a module which supports or which will take care of both import or the export of any company. That means if a company called ABC, a company called ABC Group of Industries is involving in import and is also involving in export, then what happens? You can take help of SAP GTS module to support your import activities and the export activities. I mean to say that SAP GTS is a replacement. SAP GTS module is a replacement module for both SAP SD foreign trade and SAP MM foreign trade. So now you may have the question, why should we use like SAP GTS when we already having SAP SD foreign trade or SAP MM foreign trade in the ECC system? Why do we need, or why should we use SAP GTS implemented to our company? So I can tell you the answer. Because due to the reason that SAP SD foreign trade and SAP MM foreign trade are having some limitations, are having some drawbacks to take care of export needs or the import needs. So export needs or import needs in the sense, so SAP SD foreign trade and SAP MM foreign trade are not able to support or are not able to help to fulfill the regulations of like export process or the import process. So what is this regulation? So again, what is the regulation? So what kind of regulation we have when you are exporting, or what kind of regulation we have when you are importing? So can anybody have any idea what kind of regulations we have when you are importing a product, or what kind of regulation we have when you are exporting a product? Or in general, so do you know any kind of regulation, what happens, what can occur, what can exist in international trade, whether it is import or export? So I can tell you.
When we map,
Varun.
yeah, when we for a license kind of process, we can map.
Good. That means when you are exporting a product or importing a product, there is a need or there is a regulation to take care of licenses. That means you need to make sure that the product which is being exported or the product which is being imported should have proper license in place. So that means when you convert that requirement to SAP, like in the legacy in the sense, so in the business you have a requirement, to take care of licenses for the product which is being used in the export or which is being used in the import. So when it comes to the a software perspective, that is SAP GTS perspective, what needs to be done? So we need to make sure, that means our system, our software, or our ERP system need to make sure that each and every product which is being exported or which is being imported should have assigned with a proper license in the transaction. So that means if you are creating a sales order, for export, or if you are creating a purchase order from the import perspective, I am telling you that if you are exporting if you are creating a sales order for doing an export, or if you are creating a purchase order for importing a product, in both the scenarios, you should have a system in place. To take care of license assignment automatically. That means, as you know that it is very difficult to assign the to monitor the license manually each and every time. So because of this reason, what do we need to do? You need to have a system in place, or you need to have a software in place which can take care of, which can check what product it is, and then the system is supposed to find out what license it can assign. So that means the system has to find out the relevant license and assign it to the product in the transaction. It has to be done automatically. So that means there is a regulation in the international trade, that is to take care of licenses. So we have a regulation related to the license, like assigning the license to the products or taking care of licenses for a transaction. Okay. Other than the licensing related things, do you know any other regulation?
There are a lot of documentation involved during the import and export.
Excellent. So there is a requirement of taking care of the documentation. That means whenever you are exporting a product, for example, if you are exporting product from US to Canada, from the United States of America to Canada, what needs to be done? If you are doing an export, each and every product or each and every export which is happening from US to Canada, so the company who is doing export, the company which is doing export should provide documents called certificate of origin, commercial invoice, or certificate of insurance, or the packing list, or shipper's export declaration, or shipper's letter of instruction. So that is commercial invoice, shipper's export declaration, shipper's letter of instruction, or packing list. So these are the some of the documents which the company has to provide. The company has to submit documents to the customs authorities as part of export filing. In the similar way, whenever a product is being imported to, like if any company is doing import, or if any company is importing a product from any other country, again the company has to submit required documents to the customs authorities. So that means there is a need to take care of, there is a need to identify the relevant documents and sending those documents to the customs authorities. So okay, in this regard, if you are doing a one export or one import, or if you are doing like export with one country or one or two countries, maybe it is possible like to take care of like some manual intervention. But whereas the companies like Microsoft, the companies like General Motors, or the companies like Bosch, what happens? So these companies may be doing like many exports or the many imports. They may have like so many import transactions and so many export transactions. In this regard, is it possible to like to take care of the documentation activities manually? Ashish, is it possible?
Is it possible to manually track everything and what documentations have been sent?
So if it is one or two transactions, you can manually do it. If you have like 100 transactions or 200 transactions per day, is it possible? Like it's
No, particularly not.
yes, it's not possible. It's very difficult. If you are having like 100 to 200 transactions or n number of transactions, and that too when you are dealing with n number of countries, it is very difficult to take care of this activity manually. Then what needs to be done? Then what you need? Then you need a system. You need a system which can automatically identify all the required documents based on the exporting country or based on the importing country. That means you need a system like which can take care of or which can identify all the necessary documents for a import, all the relevant documents for a export. We need to identify. And also the system should be in a place to send these documents, to send this communication automatically to the customs authorities. So this is like one of the the second the regulation which we need to face. So in the similar way, how we have a regulation related to the license, how we have a regulation related to the submitting the document, we do have some other important regulations. Those are, so especially from the 2001 September 11 incident, after the 2001 September 11 incident, what happens? So every country started introducing new rules or new stringent rules, very new strict rules have been introduced to the market, to the international market. So what kind of new rules? So that is one of the very important or one of the very strict rule introduced by the every country, that is publication of list of blocked members. One of the very important regulation which was introduced, which was announced by every country, is publication of list of blocked members, or publication of list of bad members, or the publication of list of denied parties, or the publication of list of prohibited parties. So that means what happens in the international trade, what as part of international trade, what happens? Like country like US, country like Canada, or country like India, or country like UK, what they do? So they start publishing a list of countries. They start publishing list of list of members. Every country start publishing list of members or list of people or list of persons to whom the companies in the country should not do any export or any import. So that means I can repeat it. Take an example of United States of America. So as part of this denied parties or the blocked members, what United States of America will do? The United States of America will publish, or United States of America publishes a list of members, a list of blocked members, a list of denied parties, a list of prohibited members, to whom the companies in US, company ABC, company XYZ, or company PQR, whatever the company it is, those companies should not send any export to those members, all the blocked members, or they should not receive any import from the blocked members. So this rule is called, or this list is called in SAP GTS terminology, this list is called sanction party list. This list this list is called sanction party list. So that means as part of international business regulation or international trade regulation, there is a rule stating that publication of list of blocked members to whom the respective companies should not send any export or should not receive any import. This rule is called publication of sanction party list. This list contains all the blocked members, or all the denied members, or all the prohibited members. Okay, if you have this kind of rule in place, then what is your responsibility as a client, as a company? What you need to make sure? If you are working for company ABC, if you are working for ABC group of industries, then what is your responsibility? You need to make sure that your ABC group of industries are not sending any product to all these blocked members, or you need to make sure that ABC industries are not receiving any kind of product from any kind of import from those members. That is the rule. If in case you are not able to follow the rule, then what happens? You will be, whenever you are by mistake or by unknowingly or knowingly, if you try to export a product from the blocked member to the blocked member, or if you try to import a product from the blocked members, if it is identified by the authorities, if it is identified by the customs authorities or the export authorities, what will happen? You will be under the non-compliance. That means you are not able to follow the rule. What is the rule? Taking care of sanction party list members. So if you are not able to scrutinize, if you are not able to screen your customers, and by mistake if you try to send a product to the blocked members which was published by your country authorities, then what happens? You will be under the non-compliance. Non-compliance means you are not able to follow the rule, you are not able to follow the policy, you are not able to follow some kind of regulation. So if you are not able to follow the regulation, definitely you will be under the non-compliance. So whenever you are under the non-compliance, the authorities simply they don't leave you simply. They impose huge amount of fines, or they impose huge amount of penalty or the fine. So due to this reason, what do we need to do? You need a system, you need a help of a system which can take care of this regulation. That means if we have a proper system in place, if we have a system which can take care of all our customers, that means which can screen all our customers, whether your customers are good or bad. If you have that capability to screen your customers against this blocked member. If we have a system in place, if you have a system in place which can screen all your customers against this blocked member, what happens? Your system can block the customer whose name, your system can block whose name is matching with the sanction party list member, or your system can block whose name is matching with the denied party list or the blocked party list. Then what happens? You can make sure that you will not be sending any product to the blocked member. So if you have that kind of requirement, your ECC system, ECC SD module or ECC MM module, do we have any capability of screening like your business partners, or do we have any capability of screening your customers against the sanction party list members in the ECC side, whether it is MM foreign trade or SD foreign trade? No, we do not have. From the ECC perspective, that is SD foreign trade or MM foreign trade, these both foreign trade modules are not having any capability, to take care of screening the business partners against, or to screening the customers against the blocked members. We do not have any capability. So this is the one of the drawback or one of the limitation from the ECC foreign trade, like SD foreign trade or MM foreign trade. So that is the reason SAP GTS has took a decision to introduce the GTS module to support the screening of the sanction party list. So due to the reason that SAP ECC for MM foreign trade or SD foreign trade is not able to taking care of screening of screening of blocked business members. So SAP GTS decided, so let us introduce a good module, or let us introduce a new module which can taking care of this screening activity. So in the similar way, we have a requirement, we have other requirement called other regulation. We have other regulation stating that every country publishes a list of blocked countries. Every country publishes a list of blocked countries. So okay, every country started publishing a list of blocked countries. So this blocked countries list is called as embargo list. This blocked countries is called as embargo list. So as part of this requirement, as part of this regulation, you know what needs to be done? As part of this regulation, so you need to make sure you should not send any export, to the customers who lives, to the customers whose country matches with the blocked members. So let me tell you one example. Let me take an example. You are in US and the United States of America has put a ban, or United States of America put a provision on the country called Syria and the country called Venezuela. So what happened? The United States of America put a ban on assuming that put a ban on Syria or put a ban on Venezuela. Then what happens? As part of this rule, this kind of restriction is called as embargo list. Putting a restriction on a country or banning a country is called as embargo. So whenever the United States of America putting a ban on a country called Syria or putting a ban on a country called Venezuela, then what needs to be done? As per that rule, the companies in the United States of America, what they need to do? They need to make sure their customers address, respective countries should not match with these countries. So that means if you are creating a sales order with the customer XYZ, the XYZ country, destination country, the business partner's destination country or the customer's destination country should not match with the blocked country or the embargo country. So if you have this kind of requirement, what needs to be done? Again, you need a system. Which will take care of the screening of customers countries. Screening of customers country. The previous one is screening of individual business partners, which is called as taking care of sanction party list or sanction party list screening. The previous one, the previous regulation was like taking care of sanction party list screening. That means taking care of individual members, taking care of individual members. Whereas the rule what we are discussing, it is like taking care of blocked countries. The previous one is taking care of blocked business partners or taking care of blocked members, whereas the second rule is the taking care of blocked countries. The blocked countries list is called embargo list, or the blocked members list is called sanction party list. So likewise, we have different regulations in place as part of international trade. So whenever these kind of regulations in place, what needs to be done? You need a system which can take care of all these regulations and help companies to be under the compliance. If you have a good module in place, then what happens? Your company will be always under the compliance. If in case you are not having a proper module in place to support all these regulations, then what happens? You may be under the non-compliance. So the SAP, that way the SAP GTS module will take care of all regulations and it will make sure the company will be under compliance. The company will be under the compliance all the time, or it can reduce the risk of non-compliance. SAP GTS module helps the companies to be under the compliance. The other, in contrast to that, it will make sure that it will reduce the risk of non-compliance. And also, as due to the reason that SAP ECC module, ECC SD foreign trade or ECC MM foreign trade is having limitations to support all these kind of regulations or to take care of all these kind of regulations, what happens? SAP decided and introduced a module called SAP GTS, which is Global Trade Services. Okay, and coming to just 1 minute, I will just disconnect the call and connect again because I need this recording for short time. If you don't mind, just connect again. Just 1 minute. I just disconnect and connect again. Thank you.